It started with a single sentence that cut through the noise like a blade. On live television, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett leaned forward and said with a steady voice, "Ivanka Trump has been hiding offshore accounts, and I have the evidence." The crowd froze. For a moment, it felt as though the air had been sucked out of the room. Supporters who usually erupted in chants fell into silence, their faces stunned. Reporters scrambled, typing furiously, while the cameras zoomed in on Ivanka, whose expression shifted from composed confidence to unmistakable panic. Crockett didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her words carried the weight of a bombshell. Within seconds, social media platforms lit up. Hashtags exploded, clips spread across Twitter and TikTok, and the words "hidden offshore accounts" became the headline no one could ignore. What was supposed to be another rally turned into a political earthquake, and the silence of the MAGA crowd said more than 1,000 boos ever could. Jasmine Crockett didn't stumble upon this revelation by chance. Weeks of quiet investigation had led her here, guided by whispers from financial watchdogs and leaked documents pointing to secret transfers linked to Ivanka Trump. She explained on air that the trail ran through shell companies in the Caribbean, accounts registered under obscure names, and transactions timed perfectly to avoid U.S. oversight. "This isn't speculation," Crockett declared, holding up a folder. "This is documentation." The audience shifted uncomfortably, sensing this wasn't political theater, it was exposure. Ivanka had long cultivated the image of a polished businesswoman, a figure who could glide above the chaos of her father's political wars. But Crockett made it clear, this scandal wasn't about perception. It was about numbers, receipts, and a pattern of concealment that stretched across years. Reporters shouted questions, anchors on cable news cut into their broadcasts, and suddenly the daughter of Donald Trump was no longer a symbol of quiet elegance, but the face of a financial cover-up. And as the context deepened, Crockett drove the point home. While families across America pay their taxes, Ivanka Trump was moving money offshore, not for business, not for jobs, just to hide it. The crowd gasped. What had begun as rumor was now presented as undeniable fact, and Ivanka stood at the center of a storm that only promised to grow darker. The tension broke into open confrontation. Ivanka Trump, her voice shaking but still trying to project control, fired back. "This is a lie, a disgusting smear designed to tear down my family." But Jasmine Crockett was ready. She leaned into the microphone, eyes locked on Ivanka, and answered with sharp precision. "Then explain the wire transfers. Explain the accounts in Belize, the Shell Corporation in Panama. These aren't rumors, Ivanka. They're your signatures." The crowd erupted in gasps and shouts. Some of Ivanka's loyalists tried to chant in her defense, but their voices faltered as Crockett's words echoed through the hall. Media outlets instantly clipped the exchange, labeling it the showdown of the year. On Twitter, hashtags like #IvankaExposed and #CrockettTruth trended worldwide. Ivanka attempted to pivot, claiming it was standard business practice and that her family was being targeted for political reasons. Crockett cut her off. "No, this isn't politics. This is accountability. You want America to believe you represent hardworking families? Prove to them why millions vanished overseas while you stood on stage talking about values." Each sentence hit harder than the last. Ivanka's voice grew defensive, repeating denials, while Crockett sharpened her attack, citing figures, dates, and statements from financial experts who had reviewed the documents. The energy in the room shifted fully against Ivanka. Commentators on live television spoke over one another, some calling it the end of Ivanka's credibility, others marveling at Crockett's unflinching delivery. And then came the words that sealed the conflict. "This is not just about hidden money. This is about betrayal. Betrayal of the public trust. Betrayal of every American family who plays by the rules while you break them." The hall fell silent once again, and even Ivanka's allies looked shaken. Ivanka Trump tried one last time to regain control. Her tone sharpened as she insisted, "You have nothing real. This is all smoke and mirrors." But Jasmine Crockett had been waiting for that moment. Calmly, she lifted a single sheet of paper from her folder and held it up. "This," she said, her voice steady but searing, is a signed authorization transferring $2 million into a Cayman Islands account, and the signature is yours. The crowd gasped as the image was displayed on the screen behind them. The hall erupted with cries, shouts, and disbelief. Even Ivanka's defenders had no words. Her face drained of color. She opened her mouth, but no explanation came out. Crockett pressed forward, each sentence cutting deeper. You can call this a smear, you can call it politics, but you cannot call this fake. These are your accounts, your signature, your money. News outlets broke in live, commentators scrambling to process what had just happened. Some called it a career-ending moment. Others said it was the most humiliating unraveling of a Trump ally on live television. Social media exploded, memes flooding the internet within minutes. Ivanka's panic was undeniable now. She stammered something about lawyers reviewing the documents, but the damage was done. The audience no longer believed her. Even her supporters were quiet, their silence more devastating than any boo. Crockett's final strike came with a line that would be replayed for days. Ivanka Trump isn't just hiding money offshore, she's hiding from the truth. And tonight, the truth found her. The moment landed like a thunderclap. The confrontation had reached its climax, and Ivanka was left with nothing but silence where her power used to be. The dust settled, but the impact of that night only grew louder. Jasmine Crockett stood tall, her voice carrying the final message with clarity. This isn't about one woman, one family, or one set of hidden accounts. This is about a system that believes it can hide from the people. And tonight, the people finally saw behind the curtain. The audience erupted, not with the usual chants of division, but with the raw energy of disbelief and awakening. Commentators declared it the most defining political takedown in years. Headlines screamed across the nation, "Ivanka exposed." For Ivanka Trump, the silence of her supporters was the cruelest judgment. The same MAGA crowd that once cheered her name had nothing left to say. Their stillness spoke volumes, echoing louder than any denial. Her polished image, built on years of careful branding, crumbled in minutes under the weight of Crockett's evidence. And for Jasmine Crockett, this was more than a victory. It was a statement. That truth, when spoken boldly and without fear, has the power to silence even the loudest machines of influence. Her words ricocheted across newsrooms, through social media, into households, sparking conversations about wealth, privilege, and accountability. The night ended not with applause, but with an unshakable realization. The game had changed. Offshore accounts, secret transfers, hidden fortunes, they were no longer whispers. They were front-page news, and the silence of the MAGA crowd became the most haunting symbol of all. As Crockett left the stage, she turned back one last time and said, "America deserves the truth, and no one, no matter their name, will be above it." The cameras captured every word, sealing the moment into history. The scandal was no longer just Ivanka's burden. It was a warning to everyone in power.